On the Hobo Road, I roll alone. Stars above that I follow.
Welcome back, my sideways system survivors, my ductless disaster diagnosticians, my civilization slipstream sentinels. Hobo Yeti here from a drainage ditch with ambitions, wedged between a fence that's seen more evictions than repairs, and a patch of trees with trust issues. SHTF, Hobo Road Edition, isn't about zombies, explosions, or Hollywood extras sprinting in slow motion. It's about the slow motion unraveling that happens when systems don't collapse. They just ghost you. No dramatic collapse, no bold headlines. Just the world shrinking by small indignities, a bureaucracy that gets harder to pin down, and a creeping sense that normal went out for smokes and isn't coming back. Out here, SHTF doesn't announce itself with sirens. It shows up as closed doors, temporarily out of service signs, and that gnawing feeling that every backup plan is getting a little moldy. This is surviving the world's gradual buffering, where survival is about anticipation, not bravado, and the only thing more stubborn than the problems is you. 1. When normal stops returning your calls, SHTF on the road doesn't roll in like a thunderstorm. It seeps in. One day, routines glitch out. The bus is late, then canceled, then doesn't exist. The store is open, but nothing is where it belongs. Streetlights flicker, services vanish, and normal becomes a rumor you hear from strangers. You don't panic, you recalibrate. Every easy thing now has a catch, a workaround, or a missing piece. You don't bother arguing with the universe. You just start rationing your faith in schedules. The most valuable skill isn't optimism, it's skepticism. Every comfort becomes a borrowed luxury. You learn to say goodbye to guarantees, hello to new headaches. And if you're lucky, you start to enjoy the comedy of errors as things fall apart by degrees. 2. People get loud before they get dangerous. As the world's screws loosen, people stop pretending everything is fine. Volume rises, patience evaporates, and manners become a collector's item. It's like a group audition for Survivor, but nobody's winning any cash. You learn to sidestep drama, drift in the background, and let other people headline the public freakout. The road rewards quiet, forgettable faces. The less remarkable you are, the less likely you'll attract trouble. You observe the growing tension, like a storm chaser watching the sky, but instead of tornadoes, it's arguments in the bread aisle. Your greatest survival tool isn't strength, it's the ability to exit stage left before the third act even begins. Stay bland, stay unremarkable, stay intact. Third rule is multiply while meaning evaporates. Nothing says systems failure like a forest of new rules taped to every surface, most of them written yesterday, few of them making sense. Suddenly there are curfews, limits, and exceptions you didn't know existed. You try to follow, but the script keeps changing, so you become a connoisseur of loopholes. Authority flexes but rarely clarifies. You become invisible when you need to, compliant when you must, and quietly strategic always. There's no point fighting every contradiction. The rules are mostly there to make people feel in control. You recognize them as set dressing, confidence theater, so you watch for gaps, shift with the tides, and let bureaucrats play make-believe while you get on with surviving. 4. Supplies don't vanish, they migrate. People think apocalypse means empty shelves, but in reality, stuff just migrates behind locked doors, into members-only aisles, or into the pockets of the already prepared. Food's there, but the price tag changed. Supplies exist, but the checkout is a scavenger hunt. You learn to shop like a forager, not a consumer. Fewer trips, sharper eyes, more creative substitutions. You accept disappointment as a condiment. Scarcity isn't a shortage of goods, it's a shortage of access, and the gatekeepers are always well fed. If you can't buy it, you barter. If you can't barter, you adapt. And if you can't adapt, you laugh and pretend you were fasting anyway. Fifth movement becomes the real currency. In SHTF mode, it's not about who's got the most stuff, it's about who moves best. The safe spots shift, routes clog up, camps get hot, then cold, then hot again. The ones who survive are the ones who can pack and vanish before anyone else realizes there's a reason to go. You trust your paranoia more than your GPS. A good exit plan is worth more than any stash of supplies. Stay nimble, keep your world small, and never get attached to any one patch of ground. The apocalypse can't catch what doesn't stop moving, and if it does, at least you gave it a workout. 6. Information gets weird and loud. Suddenly, everyone's an expert, especially the ones who just found out about SHTF this morning. Rumors multiply, stories warp, and every phone call brings new facts that contradict the old ones. The loudest people are usually the least reliable, but also the hardest to ignore. Out here, you develop a lie detector that works on volume. The more someone shouts, the less you trust. You believe what you see, not what you hear. The road trains you to notice the boring background details, who's actually showing up, which services quietly vanish, which streets stay empty after dark. Truth rarely yells. It usually just waits for you to notice. 7. Help comes with strings you can't see. Kindness is a luxury. Help is a negotiation. In SHTF, every offer has conditions, even if you can't spot them up front. The free meal is sponsored by a sales pitch. The warm bed requires a sermon. The friendly neighbor wants a favor next week. You weigh each offer like a bank loan. What's the interest? What's the collateral? What happens if you default? Sometimes you say yes, sometimes you walk. Independence is the only true insurance. If you get help, you owe. If you don't, you're free, at least until the next crisis. The world doesn't run on charity. It runs on favors traded in the dark. 8. Sleep becomes a strategic asset. The apocalypse hates rest. Noise rises, threats multiply. Sleep becomes the prize in a nightly raffle you never seem to win. You learn to nap like a sniper, quick, quiet, with one eye half open and your shoes on. The best spot tonight might be a nightmare tomorrow. You hoard moments of rest like gold, trading comfort for safety and deep sleep for shallow dozing. When you get a real night's sleep, you wake up suspicious. You measure security by how deeply you can sleep. And out here, paranoia is just your bodyguard in pajamas, watching the door while you catch a few minutes' worth of dreams. 9. Your world shrinks, and that's a feature. Forget global collapse. The real disaster is running out of matches, batteries, or that one water spot that didn't taste like burnt tire. SHTF shrinks your universe. You stop tracking headlines and start tracking sun angles, cop cars, and the way wind funnels through your favorite alley. The smaller your world, the more control you have over it. You get good at managing inches, not miles. Focus narrows. Worries get sharper. You become a specialist in small victories, staying dry, staying out of sight, staying alive long enough to watch the next mess roll in. Turns out surviving big problems is all about managing the tiny ones. 10. You realize you've been training this whole time. When SHTF finally shows its face, you're not surprised, you're insulted. Road life's been running drills on you for years. Missed buses? Check. Canceled food stamps? Old news? Weird neighbors? Please. SHTF is just the world catching up to your normal. You're already good at living with uncertainty, with nothing guaranteed but your own ability to keep getting up. The disaster doesn't make you stronger. It just finally admits you were right all along. Survival is your default, not your panic mode. The rest of the world is just discovering what you already know. Improvise, adapt, and never ever wait for someone else to fix it. SHTF, Hobo Road style, isn't about conquering the end. It's about making it boring. You outlast the confusion, outwit the noise, and outwalk the panic because you never expected things to work anyway. You collect skills that don't look heroic but keep you one step ahead of collapse. Patience, grim humor, and the kind of flexibility you can't buy at REI. Out here, surviving isn't newsworthy. It's just what you do when the world keeps glitching and you keep showing up. You get good at being unremarkable, untraceable, and unbothered, and that, in the end, is the best apocalypse insurance money can't buy. I hope your road is a good one. And if you're homeless, I hope it doesn't suck for you. And remember, when everything feels unstable, sometimes it's not falling apart. It's just dropping ballast and finally getting honest. Later.